Hello everyone, this is Minister William, or if you wish, Reverend Will, and this is the sermon for January 16th, 2022, and as always, we will start with a moment of silence for prayer, meditation, meditation, or what have you. Alright, thank you. This week's sermon is called The Beggar King, and you can find it on alltimeshortstories.com under the heart touching. Once a country was ruled by a king who had no son to succeed to the throne. Since the king was getting old, he wanted to select a suitable heir to rule the country. The king sent out notices to his country. The notices invited every qualified young man in the country for an interview with the king. The outcome of the interview with the king would decide a possible successor to the throne. The only qualification for the candidate was that they should have immense love for their fellow human beings. Every young man across the country was very excited at the possibility of being the ruler of the country. A poor young man from a remote village also read the notice and started to prepare for the interview with the king. The man was a kind and hard-working lad, but he was very poor due to various circumstances. The man had no good clothes to be presentable in sight of the king. So the young man worked really hard and saved some money to buy a proper clothes and supplies to support him for a long journey to the palace. After he got his supplies and a proper attire for the interview, the young man set out on his quest. He traveled many days and had almost completed the journey when he came upon a poor beggar on the side of the road. The poor beggar sat trembling in the cold, covered in only tattered rags. The beggar extended his arms and pleaded for help. His weak voice croaked, "I'm hungry and cold. Please help me, sir." The young man was so moved by the pathetic condition of the beggar that he immediately stripped his new attire and offered it to him. He also provided him with his very limited food and he had carried for the journey. The beggar thanked the man immensely. Since the man had given up his good clothes to the beggar, he was a bit hesitant to go for the interview. He, however, gathered enough courage to enter the palace in his dirty old clothes. Upon his arrival at the palace, the king's attendant showed him the way to the great hall. After a short respite to clean off the journey's grime, the man was admitted to the throne room for the interview. The young man bowed low as the king entered the room. When he raised his eyes, he gasped in astonishment, as he noticed that the king looked very similar to the beggar he met on the way. The king saw the shock in the man's eyes and said, "Yes, I was the beggar you met on your way. But, but, but why did you dress as a beggar? You're a king." "Well, then why did you do this to me?" The young man stammered after gaining some composure. "Because I had to make sure that you had a good heart and you generally love your fellow human beings," said the king. I knew that if I came to you as a king, you would have done anything to impress me. But that way I would never have known what was truly in your heart. So I used a ruse. Beggar had nothing to offer you. The generosity and love to the one in need without expecting anything in return is a sign of a great heart. Looking at your love, generosity toward the beggar proved that you sincerely love your fellow human beings. This country needs a leader who would work for the welfare of all the nation, not just the ones who would offer and cater to the throne. You have proved that you are the right person to be my successor, promised the king. Moral of the story: kindness is more important than wisdom, and the recognition of this is the beginning of wisdom. Theodore Isaac Rubin. Um, I am very personality driven. I judge solely on a person's personality, whether they're good, whether they're bad. I believe I said this before, but yeah, a person's personality is everything. Their personality affects what they do, how they treat people, everything. A person has a good personality, they'll help their fellow man. They'll treat someone with the utmost kindness and respect. A person has a bad personality, they'll treat everyone they come across like garbage. They won't help out anyone unless there's something in it for them. That is how I judge other people, by how they treat others. If their personality is good or bad. The only way we will succeed in this world is if we all have good personalities, that we all help each other, we all work together, and instead of fighting like children. Do your best to have a good personality. That's not saying you can't have a bad day and everything. That's not your personality. You're just having a bad day, you snapped at someone, you're a little bit rude. But that doesn't make you a mean person. You just had a bad day. Your true personality is how you are every other day, regardless. But that is all this week. I know it's kind of quick, but remember, when we all come together, the possibilities are endless. And our High Priestess, Yolanda, is writing a sermon to deliver to you one of these weeks. Once she is able to record it and send me the video, it will be presented to you. But once again, thank you for joining me this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.